Property Day was established sometime in the year 2000, and the main purpose was to raise awareness of the relevance of patents, copyrights, trademarks, etc., and celebrate the impact of development. Now, the World Intellectual Property Day is observed annually on the 26th of April, which will be tomorrow. Today is 25th. The year 2022 has a theme that focuses on IP, that's intellectual property, and youth innovation for better future. We'll discuss the full detail here now. I've been joined by three guests who understand the concept of intellectual property and all the issues in between. Baba Sadiq Abdullah Abu is the MD of 3Music and is also the founder of Wildland Festival. He joins us in the studio with Dr. Courage Besa Adanu. He is an intellectual property expert and a consultant with the Ghana Industrial Property Office, Registrar General's Department in Accra. And also Dorothy Habada is an intellectual property expert and a senior state attorney at the Copyright Office of Ghana. So our squad is set, and here we go for the conversation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Council? Good to see you. Great. Doc, how are you? Great. Sadiq, how are you?
I'm good.
Tomorrow will be Intellectual Property Day. What should it mean to us?
Well, thank you very much. I should say that the day should be a very important one for everyone. Anyone who is involved in any going concern in terms of business of any form, such a day should be of importance to you to take advantage, to learn more about how you could order your ways in terms of protecting your uniquely created assets, which are not tangible and yet are very critical in, advancing the course of your work.
Sadiq, for you as a content creator, is it your view that your intellectual property rights are respected here, where we are?
Well, I mean, mixed responses. I mean, in a market that there isn't too much information around intellectual property, just sometimes a lot of people's rights are infringed upon. I mean, regarding what is used and all of those things, in the market. But I think that within the last few years, there's been a certain focus and conversation in industry related to intellectual property rights and how to go the full extent to protecting yourself. The other part of it that has been difficult, it's enforcement. One, not only on regulatory agencies, but also on people. You have a certain responsibility to enforce your own rights, but either going legal or taking on people that are infringing on your rights. There's been a certain difficulty there. I mean, also because, legal services is very expensive in this town. And also creatives they move, they like to create, and so having to go through the fuller extent of, a legal process to educate a particular matter they are involved in, it's something that a lot of them are really interested in. And so that's the part of it. But I think that there's an increased awareness regarding it within particularly the creative industry. But mainly for industrial organizations, it's at the heart of it, and particularly for those that are in industries that give so much more, they manage to go the full extent of ensuring it. But again, yes, there's new information in the space now.
Council, define for us what intellectual property is. What's the position of the law?
Intellectual property is any creation of the mind that is original and independently done.
Okay.
Basically. So, as a whole, I'd like to maybe give some kind of education, more like clarity on understanding what intellectual property really is. So we have intellectual property as a mother body, so it's a big heading. And then under intellectual property, we have industrial property on one wing, and then we have copyright and related rights on the other wing. So industrial property deals with the patents, the trademarks, the plant varieties, geographical indications, and all of those. And then copyright deals with the creatives generally. So artistic works, literary works, musical works, works of choreography, computer software. So copyright covers anything creative. Basically, this is the understanding, because people confuse the two. So you understand that industrial property has to do more with industry. creative, mechanical kind things. And then copyright deals with the creatives, like more like entertainment related kind of thing, creativity, more like, So these are the two areas that
for people
we have
like Sadiq
generally.
who create a lot of content, manage talent, they are looking at their economic rights and they are looking at their moral rights regarding what they create. Do you get people like them walk into your office to come and, protect their rights from your end?
Yes, we get a lot of them. In recent times, like he said, the awareness is heightened. So people are interested in registering what they create, not because registration is what gives you copyright, no. What gives you copyright is the creativity by itself. So once you create, you own the copyright in what you have created. What you come to do with us is that you come to register your copyright with us. So something you already have, you're just coming to register it with us. Yes, so basically the reason for which we do that is for evidential purposes where there's a litigation, to recognize or identify creative works in Ghana and to identify authors in Ghana or creative persons in Ghana. So basically these are the reasons why we register.
I know that people like Sadiq and Rudy Kwachi, all of them have spoken about Adinkra symbols, for example, that are being raped globally. Ahenema, Kente, name them. Where do we stand as a country in trying to help people like Sadiq to protect their work, but also protect our national interests?
Thank you very much. So, rightly so, that the various items you just mentioned is largely protected under an industrial design known as geographical indications. So these geographical indications, because you may protect unique products, both food and non-food, that kind of invokes the origins, where they come from. So if you mention Kente globally, everybody knows that you could trace it to Ghana. If you mention burger baskets, people know that you could trace it to Ghana. If you mention these Adinkra symbols and things like that. So I would say nationally, the country, what we have done is that we've actually teased out a number, over 30 such unique products that are uniquely Ghanaian. Even our smoke, if you wore your smoke and you are on any international platform, airport, wherever, a Ghanaian sees you, that person walks to you straight because he knows that this person definitely is from home. So all these things have been profiled, and then the country is taking steps to get them protected so that Ghana can benefit, and then also especially the rural communities that plow this trade can really gain from it.
So within the space, creative industry, do you see a certain enthusiasm? People create content, but do they follow through to get their rights ensured, protected, so that in the event of any challenge, they have a firm footing, like Council said?
It's coming up, and also we're getting to a point where you don't have an option. The platforms available to distribute some of this content have begun to, excuse my language, whip everybody into line. I mean, so for today, for instance, you cannot take somebody's or sample a particular somebody's right, for instance, in your song and upload it on, say, YouTube without YouTube actually striking it out.
That's right.
Again, you cannot do that on, say, Spotify or even Netflix. Once it's actually, if you look at the requirement in acquiring content for any of these platforms, new platforms where you distribute, which are core to the business today, all these platforms have mechanisms to check for those things, and they're whipping everybody into line. So for Netflix, for instance, there's a tall list of things that you've got to fill, including having to ensure, the fact that whatever creative fees you're giving to them is fully yours. And in the event of any,
legal tax.
All those things are there. YouTube, when you take somebody's sound, you take somebody's sample, you put it up, it will strike it down. On Spotify, it's the same. Boomplay is the same. And so today, you do not, if you're working in the creative industry and producing content or creating literary works, you do not have an option. The system and where we are getting to now is whipping everybody into line. So you don't have any option.
That not having an option is there, but are the people being smart enough to go to the office to secure their rights?
There aren't critical numbers and examples of it. It's just a few people. And then obviously for those that are looking to, for instance, gain some royalties, particularly from the likes of the collective societies, Gamrog, ASOG, and all of those people. Those people, particularly the non-talents, and those that are involved in creating the piece, they are the ones that usually take it to a notch further, because for them, beyond the commercial revenue a particular work makes, it is those residuals that actually is their mainstay. So if you're a producer, for instance, in a particular song, or if you're a songwriter or anything, most of them will go the extra mile in registering the work at the likes of the collective societies to ensure that their rights in those songs or those creative pieces are protected. But we don't have a critical mass of it. But I'm sure that gradually, as we begin to discuss more about collective management societies, copyright, and IPs, a lot of people. But that withstanding, where we are headed to, it is up to you. You do not have an option. The system would whip you into line. It's up to you to ensure that your works are protected. If you don't do that, the systems and these platforms will whip you into line and ensure that you do
We'll come back to the conversation about how musicians and, if you like, actors, actresses complain always about what they are not getting from what is their creation. But Council, how do we use the intellectual property platform to create jobs for people and to raise income for them as well? Others are doing it elsewhere. What's our big plan?
Well, I can't say that I know what our big plans are, but I can tell you the possibilities.
Right.
So, creative works are automatically economic inclined, if we put it in some way. It's just that our people are really creative. So some of them, a lot of them don't care really much about what they make from it. They just want to create.
Right.
You see, but intellectual property is a mechanism put in place. In fact, that's what it is for, to help you make economic benefits from your creation. Because our people just love to create. Ghanaians are creators.
That's right.
They just love to create.
Right.
So what copyright comes into the system to do is to make you see the value of what you have created and to show you how to make economic benefits from them. The various avenues that you could use to benefit economically from what you have created, besides just the creativity that we are big on.
Doc, how much can we make if we decide to quantify how much we can make as a country from our intellectual property? I know that Paul Simon, who sang Diamonds of the Soles of the Shoe, had to pay us some money at some point by using the Yamponsa rhythm to create that piece of music. But after that, have we collected money from anybody?
Well, interestingly, you cannot just pinpoint an amount, but because such studies, let me say, for nationally hasn't been, carried out. But we can borrow from elsewhere. In Europe or within the EU, they make over, let me say, around 3 billion euros annually just for protecting one aspect, that's geographical indications. Protecting their champagnes, their Bordeaux wines, their cheeses, and stuff like that.
3 billion?
Yes, I mean, it's around 2.7 something, it should be, and that was just 2 years ago. So I'm just,
doing the estimates.
Yeah, exactly. And these money gets to these people. And if you go to the Champagne region, for instance, in France, you see lots of communities producing this champagne, and this money trickles down to these producers, down to the farmers of the grapes, harvesters, those who, press the wine themselves, and the bottle makers. And so you can see that it's an entire, value chain that, can bring some form of revolution in terms of economics, even from the rural settings. And then I think one thing I also want to add is that, just as Madam Dorothy said, in Ghana we create a lot, especially the young people. But one thing I noticed of late is that somebody creates something which in the IP parlance probably you can say it's a utility model.
Okay.
The utility models are, let's say, little inventions, okay, that are made to enhance, like this, your systems you are using, to enhance it. And it can be registered. But once somebody does anything, you see them on social media, on WhatsApp. Let me say, level so and so student of this university has invented this, and once you do that, you've lost it.
Really?
Yes. In intellectual property,
is that serious?
Yes. You don't go to the cameras quickly when you haven't started.
So I go to the studio, I record a song.
Yes.
I start sharing on WhatsApp before coming to you. I've lost it.
For songs, no.
Yeah.
That's the
that
difference.
is copyright.
That's the difference.
Yes, that's the
For
difference.
industrial property.
Industrial property.
Yes.
So I create that the boy from the KNUST who created that car. Once he put it on social media, it's lost.
It's
lost.
And then one thing too is that, there's a sad story. One person from there also, I learned, created this bamboo bicycle.
Okay.
I know it was in the media. Have you heard about that story again?
No.
We learned they went for an exhibition, and then other foreigners came to the exhibition, and that left the country. It was registered outside, and I don't know the mix, but what it means is that there is a lost somewhere. That creativity is gone, and it's gone forever.
Wow.
Okay. So when people go for this festivals and expos and things like that, and you know that you've done something that is unique. When you are not ready to register, trade secret is also part of the industrial property.
But sometimes people are in a hurry to let people know what they have done.
Yes.
And they assume that
Yeah.
once I put it out there, people can trace it back to my YouTube page, and that's mine.
Yeah, you need to be careful. Come to the right quarters.
Right.
Either go to the copyright office or come to the IP office and be helped, because either than that, how do you call it? Reputation or traction that you want to get will be short-lived.
I see. So, what's the position of the law on this one?
It is actually important that people are educated. Fundamentally, that's what it is, because without education, you don't even know that disclosure deprives you of your rights.
I'm shocked to hear that this
exactly
morning. That I create something like this, I put it on social media.
Yeah,
that's
all.
it.
It's gone.
It's gone.
My
Because
brain.
yes, you're supposed to ideally register before you disclose or make it public in industrial property. So education for me is big, because when people know, and I keep saying it, even though we do our best to educate, it is important that the creators themselves take the interest in knowing them about what they do.
But how does the boy in Asim Mesomago know about what you're talking about? He just knows how to, he picks a piece of log, he sculpts it, he creates something, puts it on social media, and he's happy.
Yeah.
How does he know that he's losing money, for example?
He wouldn't know. That's the truth about it anyways. He wouldn't know.
So how far are you spread to give people this kind of knowledge and education?
Yes, we do what we can in regards to education. At least I can say that for the copyright aspect of it. Public education is one of our major programs in the office, and we do quite a bit of that, even though we are limited in some way. Of course, naturally, we know we are all limited in some way, because unless we have platforms like this to talk about these things on, we do workshops and training, but how many people can you invite to such things, So we do what we can, but we need platforms like this to be able to let people know. At least I know that people far and wide would watch a program like this. So if opportunities like this, more opportunities like that created for us to be able to let out some of this information, it would help. It would go a long way to help.
We decided to have this conversation. Sadiq, I know that you're well versed in these matters. I'm shocked by what they're saying. Are you shocked as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also equally shocked. But I know there's been instances where first to publish has in providing the evidence of it in certain matters. A lot of case studies across the world has actually provided that strong point for people to claim their copyrights.
Right.
So I don't know about that here, but there's been a lot of cases where the first to publish
for music and for movies,
and I mean I don't know about a lot of them. First to put it out. And then
that would be for industrial property.
Yes, being able to prove. Yes, being able to. So, for instance, if I created this bottle, for instance, right, I probably may not have registered it, but I, like you said, like the KNST guy, I published it first, put it out first.
Yeah.
But then later we realize that somebody may have gone to register it. If there's any litigation and I'm able to prove the fact that it is mine, and in actual fact, I was one to have actually put it out first before the registration. That would be instructive in any case.
Yeah, but that would apply more to industrial property rather than copyright.
Yes,
Copyright, it's not an issue of first to file.
Yeah.
What we register is ownership of a work.
Okay.
Yes. So whether you are first to file, if we discover later that you registered it but it was not yours, the court could instruct us to expunge it from our records or
It's
to change
actually
that.
first to file.
First to file, not to publish.
Once you publish, when you publish there, you have already published. Because the principle is whatever you create must be novel. Okay.
Must be unique to you.
Exactly. And
Make a novel
to the
new.
world and novel new. Okay. So once you publish it, the whole world already knows about it. So then what are you coming
very good
to?
piece of information.
So then what are you
We're
coming to
grateful.
protect?
So how do we extrapolate, Sadiq? Because I hear most of the people within your space talk about the fact that, I played on this guy's song. I played the guitar here, but when they're going to collect the money from Gamro, they left me out and all of that. I want to understand how that works.
So that's a point that she said about the filing.
Right.
You need to register in the way that collective societies work.
Okay.
You need to register your works with Gamro.
Well, but
Or any
in
collective
registering, do you single out everybody?
You identify
Yes, you have to
every
identify
part.
everybody.
Okay.
Yes.
You have
And
to-
every part is
Yeah.
supposed to be catered for when
Yes.
the distribution
Exactly.
is ready, depending on what rights you transfer
Yeah.
to the organization to manage for you. Yes.
How much does it cost to file?
To register.
To register, sorry.
Yes. With the Copyright Office, depending on what work it is you're registering.
It's almost free.
It's almost free, of course. It's
It's almost free to
minimal,
register,
very
yeah.
minimal. For musical works, we do 40 CDs.
40 CDs?
Yes. For audiovisual, we do 70 CDs.
Hey,
We're looking to review.
Who like money?
We're looking to review our fees, but you know that also is a long process.
Right. So
it
if I
has
have
to go to
that-
Parliament.
it's a
to
whole
go to
other
I
National-
should, I can create this thing. It's
Yes.
novel to me.
Yeah.
How much?
Industrial property will have to deal with that.
This
For they
industrial property also goes through a different system.
yes.
Of
Yeah.
registration. Yes.
How do we bring everybody to the center to understand it? That's where my concern is now.
Yeah, well, so it's education, and I'm sure now that we are having this discussion, if the office got back to TV3 for us to create something, to educate, the public, how to use their IPs and things like that, then I'm sure you will not shut the door. Because this is really important, and it's one of the reasons why I don't know if we could discuss tomorrow's program already, but
briefly,
I know
yeah.
you have your
Right.
your-
We'll come there.
Yeah.
I want to
Actually,
understand.
conscious steps by particularly the state, for instance. If the state is seeing the value in protecting people's economic rights, for instance, they could. I mean, already there's a Creative Arts Council that has been created.
Right.
There are a lot of different organizations and bodies under it. The state may want to take it as a way of enabling the ecosystem by ensuring that these various different organizations they receive some level of education regarding it, because at the end of the day, it's information and the education that you receive that will compel you to do those things. There are a lot of people that do not know these things, so they create, like you said, today we found out a very important piece of information where everybody creates in the rush to Facebook or the rush to WhatsApp, but I'm sure with the information and with more details regarding the fact that you are protecting your rights for now and the future, because today maybe you're active, and so you have a way of, you're constantly creating and making money, and so you are not realizing. There's always going to that point where you are not as active as you are today. And that's the point, the royalties from some of these things that you're constantly creating may sustain you. And
Should this be taught in school?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So why are we not teaching it? Why are we not putting it in the curriculum, the new curriculum, and telling them to teach this in school? Because
Funny enough,
council says we are
we have
naturally
tried.
creative people, and I agree. Why are we not starting so people can make money from it? So not everybody will be on governments that create jobs for us.
Well, I think that for intellectual property, the way it is, it's kind of multidisciplinary. Okay, so usually it is, 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 it is taught or you are introduced to it at a certain level.
They teach the lawyers.
Yeah.
Yes,
But they don't teach the other disciplines.
Yeah, so even the lawyers, if they are candid enough, they will tell you it's not everybody. And IP lawyers is a special area. I have a background in scientists before got into intellectual property. Yeah, so it's like everybody invokes their background into it. So, but currently, I think there are masters in intellectual property around the African continent, and Ghana happens to host one of them at KNUST, training engineers, and there are others that train lawyers, and then others also train business people. Yeah, so I think it's more about educating the people, having a targeted education. Right. Yeah. So and it's in the strategy of the IP office, for instance, when it rolled out, all of you who
it's in the pipeline. You mean? What if the pipe is shut?
It will not be shut. It will not be shut. Very soon, I'm sure the media people will be engaged. Various sectors will be engaged on how. Yeah. Because I get worried, especially when I see people like you going to do some interviews, and then it's on there, and I'm like, Charlie, this thing is gone. Once TV3 has published it, it's gone.
We are finished.
Yes.
Well, but we are doing our work.
Yeah, I know.
Sadiq, is it worth it to go through the process of registering, filing? Because we hear the people talk about 200 Ghana cedis for a whole year, 60 Ghana cedis, 350. Well, I think it's demeaning.
No, I mean, if it's
underwhelming.
Yeah, well, I mean, the challenges of the copyright offices and the collective management societies is well documented. They have serious challenges and will require a certain level of
What are these challenges that you've noticed?
Well, I mean, collecting is a problem. Enforcing it is a problem. When you speak to GAMRO, for instance, they'll tell you that the organizations that are supposed to pay do not pay. And so they will, and also, given where we are headed, some of the bases for which they are supposed to collect are shrinking and becoming very smaller. So they've been looking for legislation, for instance, that would ensure that it becomes bigger, so that the size becomes bigger and everybody can enjoy. Secondly, the issue of equity distribution is a problem. And so if you look at it at this point, obviously they are having to share it on a welfare system of a sort, where almost every registrant gets something, regardless of whether their
music played and they collected something on their behalf or not.
And so if they could get to a point where they can ensure the equity distribution, if they get to a point where, for instance, there will be a legislation that enforces or ensures that any user of the copyright, for instance, must actually even pay a blanket fee before they use, in the ways that we pay our licensing fee to the NCAs and co and everything. And then even for when you're going to, because they're supposed to take from the transport organizations. And so if they are going to do their DVLA roadworthy, for instance, there's a legislation that requires that they pay it at that particular point. It would expand the base of what they are collecting. And then obviously if they add the equity distribution on the top of it, where you are adequately tracking what's being played and what's being paid for, and ensuring that those people that are getting that particular airplay, much needed airplay and royalties, get adequately paid. That will be a surest way of solving it. But generally, they need a lot of support.
Are there international best practices we're learning from? Are we learning really, or we're pretending to be learning?
In terms of
how to solidify the whole space of collection. Maybe Council, you step in first, and then Doc will come.
Definitely international best practices that are there that we are using, but the implementation, you see, the dynamics of the two jurisdictions differ.
What is holding the horses' leg?
We are more, how will I put it? We are more communal in this part. So you can't be too strict on certain things in this part. You know, when you try to do that, then you are antagonized. You are the antagonized ones. You know, sometimes even the people you are trying to protect sometimes come at you when you are trying to enforce their rights. It's amazing.
You want to get
sometimes
a right on corn wine, medang, and the people say we have been drinking this for
for centuries. Or somebody is or we find somebody's infringing on your work, your music, something, and we go out on raids, we make swoops, we arrest people, now prosecute, and then they come begging. The owners of you are wondering, okay, So really, how do we get this
is it
done?
worth it?
How do we get this done? Because it is your works I'm protecting. I don't create.
Yeah.
I only enforce. I administer what you create. So if I am trying to protect you and you are looking at me as the bad person, I don't know how we are going to progress. But in some way,
Sadiq helps people to produce content. Now, he's driving through town. He sees this guy with pen drives. And the guy is boldly telling people he has, latest hip life songs. How do we get that?
Oh, what we
Because
do
when he
by
sees
way
it,
of
He
what
will
we
get
do
a
by way.
heart-wrenching effect, but he can do nothing.
Yes, he can do something. The works are his.
It's yours. It's your
You
property.
see, copyright is an individual. You have the onus of responsibility for its protection is yours.
Yeah.
What we
But he
do
has
as an office.
a bunch of hip life songs. He
Exactly.
doesn't know if what he produces is part of it. But the guy says latest hip
His
life
life
songs.
is on it.
How does he collect
if
the pen
he
drive?
finds that indeed one of his is on it, and he feels it necessary to take up the matter, he can.
Where does he go?
And the legal,
He can go to court. He can come to the Copyright Office. We have mechanisms, we have systems there that can assist. But what we do in regard to what you asked initially is we do occasional raids, we do swoops, we do enforcements, we do what we can with what we have, basically. So we
But
try
the
to
challenge
do
is
that.
that the people you're trying to protect.
Sometimes
Sometimes
not always
come
the
to
time,
you
not
to say
always.
it's,
But
oh.
a lot of the times, those have been
My cousin.
some of the.
Jano.
the way we
You know,
the way we are supposed to operate is consistent with all the international best practices, because I mean Ghana is a signatory to the Berne Convention, for instance,
many
Right.
international
From WIPO,
treaties on IP.
which is almost the same thing that every country uses to guard their whole IP and copyright.
Right.
You know, but the execution, like she said, is
on
what
the
differs.
on the whole, I would say that we have tried to adapt the best practices, especially in our laws and practices. But it is the enforcement.
Right.
That is where the problem is.
That's where the challenge
Tomorrow
is.
you're having, international. We're celebrating. Would it just be another celebration? Another walk in the park.
Well,
Since the
certainly not.
2000, we have had it 22 years.
No.
We are going to do another community.
No, actually, I think for Ghana, this will be kind of a third or fourth since it started.
Right.
So this year, the momentum, has changed a bit, and hopefully next year it will be much higher. For tomorrow, what is going to happen is that the opening ceremony will just be 2 hours between 10 to 12.
Where?
At the Ghana International Press Center.
Okay.
Then after that, we are going to have...
the press center is small. If Sadiq decides to bring his squad along, they will fill the place for him.
Yeah, we'll cater for them.
But the
what
place is small.
No, he can come later to the IP office.
Okay.
Itself, which is just in front of the Ghana Football Association.
Right.
That's the former business development building.
Right.
We are going to have an open day for the rest of the day.
Okay.
So that is where probably he can come.
So
with
he
his team.
come later there.
Yes,
but he can't
that is
come
from
to
one-
the launch.
No, the event,
can
the
come.
event he can come.
IP office.
Yes. The event itself he can.
I'm saying if he brings a squad of 30.
No, no.
I know the press is small.
No, it's an outdoor program.
It's an
Okay, and
outdoor-
you do it in the park.
Yes, we do it in the park. But then,
Don't mind me.
Yeah, but he can come with his team.
Okay.
After,
Later.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
After the event.
So
Do you
tomorrow
have
is more
any-
an educational day.
More on
Yeah.
education.
Yes, so we
8
are
to 10.
open.
No, the 8 to 10 is
8 to
opening
10 is just the
ceremony.
opening.
Then the rest of the afternoon is
Will be at the
intellectual
GFA.
property clinic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the old business development.
Okay. And then what else?
So come and ask all your
Whatever
questions
you have
your questions.
will be available.
And so we are hoping that from after tomorrow there will be
The conversation
yes
will
the
continue.
conversation will.
But who can
continue.
attend? Any and everybody?
Anybody.
No, the opening ceremony. Yeah.
No, you have explained that. I'm saying who can come to the IP office?
Anybody.
Any
creative, anyone who is even
involved in
interested, even
business,
if you're not involved.
Anything that you are doing that involves any creation, you see, because IP, anything you are doing that makes you unique in your space of operation, that you think this particular one you want to protect it somehow.
Right.
We are
welcome to join. Okay.
Open to-
I wish you all the best. Sadiq,
Yes.
closing thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think that it's a step in a good direction. I'm just hoping that, like I said, the state will provide the necessary support, because our IP system needs a lot of support. They need a lot of backing. They need a lot of financial boost
That's
to
the
ensure
point.
that
They are not giving them the money.
exactly. They need a lot of financial boost to ensure that the education is expansive enough and the enforcement is expansive enough in the ways it will help any other industry. I've seen that here. There's a certain fixation on industrial because it be there the money there.
Right. That's the whole point.
Copyright, no.
But again, I know.
is
Understandable in terms of the
essentially
easy. But I'm saying that in terms of focus from the state, it should be more expansive in terms of having a bigger catchment group and then to rake in more. Yeah.
See, Doc, closing thoughts.
Yeah. So I think that intellectual property is a very important tool, in our industrial, drive, and more especially. Just to link it to the African trade area, Ghana, we must be, up and running to run with it. Else, most of the things, when it is fully opened, the competition will be much keener, and then we might not realize.
Hey, Council.
For me, I would say that we are open to collaborations.
Okay.
Yes, we have challenges, but we will not limit ourselves. So we are open to collaborations. Anyone who feel that they can partner with us to get things done by way of enforcement, education, or even just better understanding of what we do or how it can benefit their maybe clientele we are open. We are open to collaborations to get this
who is
done.
your sector minister? I like greeting people. I want to say good morning to him or her.
The
Minister for Justice, Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Godfrey Damiebo, good morning to you. I want to greet you this morning peacefully, and to say that good morning. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much to Baba Sadiq Abdullah Abu. He's the MD of 3 Music and the founder of Wilderland Festival. Thank you very much for coming. Also to Dr. Courage Bessa Adanu. He's an IP or intellectual property and consultant, expert and consultant with the Ghana Industrial Property Office, Registrar General's Department. Good morning. Thank you very much. Also to Dorothy Habada. Esquire, IP expert and senior state attorney at the Corporate Office of Ghana. Thank you very much indeed for coming. And thank you for watching. Happy birthday to Desmond Boachi Dankwa, a.k.a. Abu. It's not Abu here, it's Abu the thief. It's really belated birthday also to Godwin Place of the Petrosol Enterprise. This is from Oscar. Moro Awudu, you are 44 years today. My brother in the press, in the media. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Moro Awudu. Also belated one to Honorable Julius Deborah, former Chief of Staff. Yesterday was your birthday. To Mr. Paul Anku, businessman at Accra, and also with the LS Group. This is from Quinsale in Adentan constituency. Happy birthday to you. If it's also your birthday today, last one from to the General Manager of Cheesy Pizza, Mr. Kwesi Bumi. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. We'll see you after the break. There's more here on TV3Newday. Stay with us. We'll be right back.